I'm HP and today I'm going to talk about the minor modes. If you want to start with the minor modes, it's very strongly recommended that you first check my tutorial about the major modes, because the minor modes are very much related to the major modes. Why is that so? I give you a short reminder about the major modes. The major modes, we had like an example in F. We have the seven positions and the 7 chords with the 7 modes: F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, or you can also make the 7 chords, E diminished or the E minor 7 flat 5, and then we're back to F. And each of those steps have a related mode. On the first we had Ionian. As you remember, on the second we had Dorian, on the third we had Phrygian, on the fourth we had Lydian, on the fifth we had Mixolydian, on the sixth we had Aeolian, on the seventh we had Locrian, and then it starts all over again. Now when we come to minor, it's very much related to each other. Every major mode has a related minor mode. No, sorry, that's wrong expression. Every major key, let's say key, in this case F, has a related minor key. In this case, in F, it's D minor. Or if you want to talk about the different position, it's the position number 6. It's marked with the Roman number 6 and the 6. So the related minor key is D, or the 6th position. And what happens now? Now when you start again, D minor, the 6 becomes the 1. That's very important later for the progressions. I mean, at the moment it doesn't make too much sense, but later you will see that it makes very much sense. So the 1, D minor, the D minor becomes 1. So then now we have 1, D minor, 2, that was the E diminished or E minor 7 flat 5. 3 was F, is F now. I take it lower here. I mean, it's the same F. 4 is G minor, 5 is A minor, 6 is B flat major, 7 F major, and here we are back to 1. Now, looks like pretty much the same. As I said, the progression's changing, and of course the modes are still the same, which related to each step. So we have here on the first D minor we have Aeolian now, on the second we have Locrian, on the third we have Ionian, on the fourth we have Dorian, and the fifth we have Phrygian, on the sixth we have Lydian, and on the seventh we have Mixolydian. Now we come to the progressions. The most common progression is 1, 4, 5. In F, in major, like in F major, this would be 1, F, 1. 4 is B flat major, 5, C major, comes back to 1. And now the 5 is very important. The 5 is the dominant position under the dominant 7 chord. It's very important in each progression. When you create a progression, it basically starts on the first. I mean, there are a lot of exceptions, but I'm talking about basically. It starts on the first, moves through any kind of positions, like F to G minor to C, back to 1. And the C, in this case, the dominant 7 chord, or the dominant, is a very important position, because that has to be a dominant 7 chord or a dominant chord or a major chord. Why is that so? Because that one strongly leads back to the 1. If you want to play any kind of progression like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, now strongly goes back to 1. Or I play 1, 6, 2, 5, strongly goes back to 1. This was now in F major. When we come to the related minor key in D minor, we have the same thing again. We have the progression 1, 4, 5. But now in D minor, so D minor we have here. D minor is the 1, and we count through 1. It diminishes 2, 3, 4 is G minor, 5 is A minor. So 1, 4, 5 will be D minor to G minor to A minor and back to D minor. Now, you notice that now on the 5 we don't have a dominant chord anymore. And that's the trick now. And this is the difference between the major and the minor modes or minor positions. On the 5th here, if you really want to have that strong pulling back chord, that dominant 7 chord on the 5th position, you need to change something. Actually, in classical music, where people invented this, they just put in a major chord. Now I make an A major chord. So D minor, G minor, A major. Now you see, oh wow, strongly leads back to 1. But now something happens. Now, as I said, something's happening now. Since we have 1, 4, and now 5 as a dominant chord, something happened. Because the difference between A minor, which would be the normal chord in the progression or in the modes, will be Phrygian here. Now suddenly we have a major chord. Now when we play Phrygian, here we play Phrygian. So we have the intervals 1, flat 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. This is the Phrygian mode. But now we adapt this flat 3. This is the triad. Now when we play a major chord, we cannot play a minor triad, so we have to move the flat 3 up to 3, and then it fits. So 1, flat 2, 3. And now, suddenly, some of you might recognize the scale. Sounds very Arabic, and actually, this is the reason why people created D harmonic minor. This is the 5th position of D harmonic minor, and in this case this scale is called Phrygian natural 3. Why? Because the flat 3 became a 3. So when you play a progression in minor and you have a dominant chord, you have to switch. You have to switch to Phrygian natural 3 when on the 5th position, or when you're on D minor, then you have to switch to D harmonic minor. How do we create harmonic minor? As a reminder, in D minor, we have first position Aeolian. So 1, 2, flat 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7, 1. And now harmonic minor, you replace the flat 7 to a 7, and this gives you harmonic minor. That's it. So when you play progression in minor, you always have to use either the one or the other possibility. So if you have a dominant chord in the progression, then of course you have to switch to D harmonic minor, or if you want to go specific on the chord, then you play the Phrygian natural 3 scale. Now how do we work in minor? As I said, it's very much related to major, but the progressions work totally different. I mean, like a very common progression in minor is 1, 7, 6, 5. Very Spanish progression. In this case, we have a dominant chord, so now if we analyze this progression, Aeolian first, 7th Mixolydian. As you remember, as I said, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, watch the tutorial about the major modes, because there the modes are really explained very in detail, and here I'm going more or less how we work in minor. 6 we have the Lydian, and 5 we have Phrygian natural 3. Yeah, the normal way working in a minor progression is actually is more for guitar players. Because why? Because the guitar is I think like 99% of your players start a guitar playing the minor pentatonics. And that's very much related to minor, of course, because it's minor. And typically way you can really work out on minor songs just using the normal minor pentatonics, or you go into the minor scale and then you don't really go on the modes. But when you have a dominant on the 5th, you have a dominant on the 5th, you have a dominant 7 chord, then of course you have to adapt, and then you switch to harmonic minor. This is the easiest way to get into playing minor progressions or a minor tune. Of course, if you really want to stick on each chord as it would be in modes, then it's the same thing. Before you start a tune, you analyze the progression. As an example, let's play D minor to E minor 7 flat 5 to A7, back to D minor. That will be 1, 2, 5, and then you check the scales which are used. On the first one, of course, Aeolian. On the 2, Phrygian, not Phrygian, Locrian, of course. And in minor, Locrian is used very much, in major not so much. So Locrian and 5, but we have a dominant here. Then we play Phrygian natural 3. Other example, we play D minor to B flat to G minor to A minor. Sounds a bit strange for me. Yeah, but it works. So we analyze it. 1, we play Aeolian, of course. Well, 1 is always Aeolian. 6 is Lydian. 4 is Dorian. And A minor. In this case, we don't have a dominant chord. That's why actually it would be nicer with the A major, but we have to do one with the minor. Here we play now Phrygian, not Phrygian natural 3. Yeah, that's more or less the way you work out on the modes and readapt the modes on each chord. So I hope this tutorial helped to really reveal the secrets of the modes. Once again, if you didn't get the point on this tutorial because you missed the tutorial on the major modes, really first watch the major modes, to understand everything which I said here, because it didn't make so much sense because these two systems are related to each other, and if you don't understand what's going on the major modes, I'm pretty sure you didn't get the point here. So this is like, I don't know how long this video now is. This stuff takes some time to you really stick into it and just work it out and make some examples with progressions, or I don't know, find your way how you really stick into the modes, and your playing will become much richer than when you just play minor pentatonics, or if you play also major stuff like major pentatonics. And it's really worth going through this process. Even it's maybe at the first, when you start first, it's a lot of head work and really a brainer till you get it. But once you get it and you start to really adapt it on the fretboard, you will enjoy this stuff. And as I said, play much more rich than like just only playing this typical pentatonic stuff. And this really works on any style you can play. Yeah, maybe blues not, because blues is basically we just use one mode more or less. Yo, that's it. So enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed and have a nice time.